guys, my name is Femi Aishiro. In this video we are going to focus on the front end of the project I worked on the last time. Alright, so remember that I worked on the event booking app, which is completely written in Go. Right, so we have few endpoints that I worked on here, and in this particular video our focus is going to be to consume the endpoints and then build the front end so that we have a full stack project. Alright, so here are the features of the project. So for the front end part that we are working on today, it's a very simple app. Like, there's no design. I came up with all the designs myself, just something to show the endpoint that we are working on. So this is what we have on the main page, and then we have list of various events, and then you can click on this, then that gives you more details to that event. And one thing about the details is you can actually register for an event. As you can see, you can't not register for an event because you need to be logged in. So it's a protected endpoint. So we have like about 5 endpoints that are protected here: post, put, that is create, we have delete. Post, to register, then you have to be is authenticated, and then we have delete as well, which is cancel, is also authenticated as well. Alright, so the ones that are public are basically to get all the events and then get the specific or single events as well. So those are the ones that are not protected, and we can see that we have full list of all the events, and then we can get a single event like this as well. Alright, so moving on from there, we can get started by clicking on we have account login, and then we can register as well. We can sign up. Alright, and then I have the navbar that basically we have the logo. I came up with this name, and then we have the sign up as well. So to get started, I can just create a new account. So let's create a new account by saying as you test 3 at example.com like this, and then let's do test like this. Alright, so I'm going to sign up now. So just to click sign up. Alright, so new account created successfully. So this is a toast notification to help a better user experience. So we can now log in. Okay, so we can log in, and then we just do test 3 at example.com, and then we can put in our password, and then we can click login. Alright, so when we log in, right, in our dashboard, so one thing that we need to take note here is that we see that our navbar now includes the dashboard and then the create, right? So you have a field where you can create events, and then you have a navbar. Remember that we also have logout. Alright, so these are interesting things that we are going to be learning in this particular video. And then most importantly is the authentication. So why are we not having an event? The reason why we are not having an event is because this is a new user. Alright, so there's no event, right? So we can create an event by coming here, and let's say we can do web development conference like this, and then I'm just going to get a dummy random test from here. Let's get the dummy random tests like this. Alright, so I'll just copy this guy here. Let's copy this guy. I'll just paste it here, and then we just pick a location. Let's just put Lagos, Nigeria, and then create event. So as you can see, immediately I create an event, we can see that we have the event created here. And as well, I can create more. Let's say mobile dev meetup. Alright, so we can as well do something like this, and then choose any location, maybe Netherlands, Europe, and then create an event. So once you create an event, alright, so we can see, the first thing we can see here is that we can see that the email is to event created by this. Alright, so what I've done here is to make sure that it is only the event created by the user that you get to see. Alright, so we have 2 events created by this user. So you can see we have web development conference, mobile dev meetups, right? So these are the events that are created by these users. So since we have a lot of users, then we can see that we have how many events now. So we have a lot of other users that they also have created events. All right. So but by the time you log in, you are only permitted, to see your own event that you have created, and that means that you can edit. All right. So that means you can come here and edit and say, okay, web, let's say latest web trend, like this trend, right? So, and then you can, maybe we can change our location to mean San Francisco, like this, and then we can update. So we can see that it has been updated, and then when we go here, we can see that we can see the latest web trend. All right, so that is how it works. So all other people's events are being here, and I made it so like that because you can only delete your own event. You are not permitted to delete on any other person's event. So, and I can as well say delete an event. So we can create an event which we have just seen, right? We can edit an event, and then we can as well delete an event, and then we see that that particular event has been deleted. All right. So now that we have logged in, then we can come back and kind of register for any event that we want to register for. So we can come here and then let's say register for, we can just click register for an event, and we can see that we have successfully registered for an event. We can as well cancel that registration as well. All right, so that is the features that we are going to be working on this in this project. So we have few endpoints that we are going to be consuming in this particular project. We have about, how many endpoints do we have? We have about one, two. We have about 9 endpoints that we are going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have about 7 endpoints that we are going to be working on in this project. All right. So the first thing we are going to be working on is to get the first home page work. As we have to set up this home page, and then by the time we are done with the home page, then we can move on to getting the single individual events, right? Flushing out these individual events, and then we can now get to work on the authentication. So here we are going to talk about the login, the create an account aspect of the project, and then we now move over to the dashboard, and then create events, and then edit events part of the project. All right, so and once we sign out like this, so we can see that the navbar automatically changes, right? And then the create, the dashboard, the logout is no longer there because we have already sign out. So we've logged out, and then if you are trying to access or register, then you get this information. You must be logged in to register for an event. The same thing applies to if you are trying to cancel. The same thing happens. And I'm just going to log into another account for us to see that. I just do example 1, then we can see things that are created by invalid password. Okay, so let's do 2. All right, so we can see these are the event that is created by this person. We can see JavaScript conference, tech founders, and all of that. So to go to my database, let's try and see the various accounts that we have. All right, so we can see that these are the various accounts that we have already. So we have like 4 different users, right, that they have actually created events on this project, right? So that is that. So we are just going to start. We are going to get started, and I added something. There's a few things I added that I didn't include in the last video, and that was on the dashboard. I wanted a situation whereby it is the events that are being created by the users that gets to be showed, that you get to see. Okay, so there's no point, getting all the events on the dashboard here, because some of them are created by another user. So you don't want to, we don't want to give that access. It doesn't make sense that an event is created by a user, and then another user comes in that is different, and then is now able to edit or delete that event. So that does not make sense. All right, so what we have here basically is the events that are being created by that specific users, and that we can see that you can see events created by this. So it is the event that is created by these users that gets to be shown here, and then that is same event that you have access to edit and you have access to delete. All right, so that is that. So a quick little addition on the back end, I'm going to be showing us really quick now. On the back end, let me just close this. I added some I made some changes because of what we have to do here, the query params that we did here, and that is let's get to the repo here. So for the storage, I added this. All right, so I added this functionality, and what I did here was to say get event by user ID. All right, so for us to be able to get event by user ID, right? So it says get event by user ID, right? So this is what I did. Then to select by then using the user ID. All right, so we know that from our model, right? Every event has a user ID. All right, so I want to get events specific to every users, right? Because every event is tied to a specific users. All right, so we have about 4 users, and each of those users, they actually have the events that are being created by them. All right, so that is what I did here. All right, so to get events by users, and then we now later came to the events. So when we are getting the events, right, we came here to say, okay, so this is events that we want to get, and then we had to do the query params to get created by this. I'm going to be showing us as I'm going to test it out now, and then if it's not empty string, and then this is what happens, and then this is what we are going to get, right? So I'm going to be showing us now, and then if we are not getting by ID, then it automatically gives us this. All right, so those are just a few modifications I made on the back end, and I'm just going to test out. Let's test out this on the front end. Let's test it out and see. So I'm just going to do, let's make a request. Okay, we cannot be authenticated. We cannot be authenticated. All right, okay, so let's try this, trying to get. All right, so we can see that I've been able to log in, and then let me copy this guy here. We are soon going to start our backend, our front end. So let's get all the events. So let's get so to get all the events, I'm just going to do this created by equals to. So let's get all the events first and foremost. So let's get all the events. So getting all the events, we can see that we have a lot of events here, right? So we check now, we have maybe we have this one created, the user ID is 1 here. All right, so the user ID is 1 here, then this one is 2. You can see a different users, then another different user 3, and then another different user, which is 4. All right, so I can as well just come here, since on the dashboard what I want is to see the event created by that specific user, created by, and then I'm just going to say, let me even check the database to see test 1 is what. Is it test 1? All right, so I think it's test 1. Okay, it's tests, ordinary test, so it's going to be 1. So the ID is 1, so created by that specific ID. So let's go to get event, and then let's make it 1. So by the time we click send like this, so what do we see? So we are only seeing just 2. So that means I filter by the user ID, and that is why we're having 2. So we make it like 2 as well, right? I make it like 2. Same thing, we are saying user ID is 2, and then let's make it 3. All right, so just 1. All right, so what is responsible for this is because in our events here, I made modifications there to allow that. All right, so this is what is responsible, doing this line 31, and then from here to this part. All right, so that is that about the back end, and we are just going to start by focusing on the front end now. So please guys, if you have not subscribed, if you have not liked, please I will appreciate if you do that. And then, I would love to have a comment. This is very important to know areas to improve and know the things to do better. Thank you guys. So I'm just going to kill this, and then this is the whole project, and then we are going to pick up from, let's just take this. All right, so just going to take this, just going to close this guy. Let's close. So the first thing we're going to do, we don't have any web project here. As we can see, what we basically have here is a backend, right? So, and everything I've talked about is included. So if I do send, okay, I'm not logged in, am I? Okay, so let's start the development server. So let's start lx. So let's do go run ./cmd. So I'm starting our development server. Alright, so we have it started, and let's do, so we can see just two. Alright, so I've made the modification on this particular project as well. Right, so the first thing we want to do is to get our, all we want to do now is to get, we need to get React, right? And we use Vite, right, in order to be able to install React, right? So Vite is like a tool that helps us to get React. So we're going to get React, and how do we get React? So let's get React. Okay, so npm, let's get React, or going to get React. Why does it look like okay, npm creates Vite. Okay, all right, so this is what we need. This is the command that we need to get React. So what I'm going to do is to create, and then just let's lx. Okay, so we can see our current directory. So I want the web to be on this current page. So what I'm going to do is to do npx zmps. Yes, we have npm create Vite at latest, like this, right? I know it's going to ask us some questions, but it's okay. All right, so it's going to ask us the name of the project. So let's just do web, right? So it's asking us few questions like React. We just need to React with JavaScript, just JavaScript, and then that is all. So we can see that we have our web here, and then the next thing we are going to do is to seed in. So we are changing directory inside the web, right? And after that, we need our node module, right? That is very important. Then I'm installing the node module right now. All right, so it's going to get installed, and then we can now start building our project. All right, so this should not work again. Okay, I think I know what to do. So let's cancel the old projects. Just going to stop this. All right, so don't expect this to work. All right, so our node module is installed successfully. This is our node module. So what we are going to do now is to start our development server. All right, so to start our development server, what we are going to do is to do npm run dev. That is the command to start, and then we start. Yes, we can see we have it here like this. And what do we have? This is what we have basically. Just going to take it here, and then let's all right, so I'd like to have it here. All right, so this is what we have. All right, so few cleanups that we are going to do here is to come to here, our index.css. I'm just going to comment everything out like this first. Let's comment everything out for now, and then our app.css as well. I'm just going to comment everything out, right? So maybe I should just take it out for now. All right, so our app.js, right? So this is we know what we are building already. So what I'm trying to do is to do a kind of cleanup. So somebody might ask, what is our main.js? So the main.js is just an entry, right? This is where we have the setup of React, right? I'm not going to be going into much details. The index.css is a CSS file that whatever you write inside this file affects every of your components, right? So that is how it works. So it's a global CSS file, right? So that affects everything. It affects the entire page, right, of your application. And then we have the app.css. So we have the index.js, right? So the index.js has a separate CSS file, right? So we can see that this is imported here, right? So that is, and this is what we have, right? So this is imported here. So what I'm going to do now is to just do some few cleanups here, and then we can just do each one, just say hello world like this as well, and that is. So I'm just going to take this state out for now, and then let's take this guy out for now, right? So this is what we have. I think we can start to work on our application now. And before we forget, so our focus in this what we want to work on is on the home page, and we have two endpoints that we are going to be working on. So get all the events, and then retrieve specific details of rewards, getting specific events, right? So we want to be able to get specific events. So one thing that is very important now, since we are going to have multiple page, we need to set up our routing, right? So setting up our routing is something that we need, that must be done. And what we are going to be using is React router. So I'm just going to take, let's do React router, right? So we are going to take React router like this, and then I guess installation. All right, so we're going to take that here, and installation. So there are two things you can install as a framework. We don't need to do that. What we need is to install as a router, right? So that's what we want to do. We want to use it as a router. Let me get the code. So let me just do, what are we going to do here is, let me do npm. So we are going to get React router. So React is a library. So as a library, it's also important. It's just a library. So it doesn't handle routing for you, unlike Next.js, unlike Remix or React Router 7. So we need to install a separate library to be able to use routing. So routing is like you have multiple pages on your project. That is what we are talking about here. So we're going to be seeing it shortly. React router library. So let's see if we can get it. React router library. So we have React router library, React router. These are typings. Okay. All right. So let me just write React router like this. React router. Okay. So I'm just going to, since I can't find it, React router, React router. So let's check the installation once again. This is installing as a framework. Let's go back to this place as a router. Trying to check. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have, right? So installing this, so this is what we need. npm react router, that is all that we need. Just open another, let's say npm I react router like this, and that is all that we need. That is all that we need. And then we are going to do some. So how do you know that you have React router installed on your system, on your project? So you can go to the package or JSON. So that gives you, that is going to show. So we can see this here is not showing here. Is not showing here. What's happening? All right, so whatever package that we install should be here under our dependencies. So I'm going to check this again. react router. This has been added. Okay, all right, I think it's all audited. Okay, so let's just set it up and see. Right, so what I'm going to do now is to do const router like this, const router like this, and we are going to have create browser router, so an instance, and then inside the instance, so we are going to have an array of objects. All right, so where we begin to define our route. So before we do that, I'm just going to create a folder. Right, so we've done something wrong here. We've done something wrong. So what we have done is our node module is outside. Okay, oh wow, no wonder, no wonder. So our router is not installed because it was installed outside. It should be inside the web, right? So what I'm going to do now is to delete this guy. Let's delete it. Let's delete it. So you have to seed in. So you have to check, you have to change directory inside the web. Inside the web. So let's change inside the web. Alright, so we are inside the web now. So we can now do npm install. So we can see we can install now. So that should work now. Npm install react router. So if we go to our node package.json now, so can we see now, we can see that react router has been installed. So we have react router installed. And what we can now do now is to start. So what we are going to do now is to, inside our source, we are going to create a folder called pages that is going to contain all our pages. And inside our pages, we are going to have different pages, right? So we are going to have, I'm just going to create them now. We're going to have a root layout, like a layout where I'm going to put the navbar, the footer, and all of that, so that I don't have to put it everywhere. RFC. Alright, so that is an extension. That is a React extension I'm using. So this is the extension. So you can go ahead to download it, and that helps me to, gives me that shortcut. So we're going to have another folder. We're going to call it home page, home.jxx. So we are going to have single signup.jsx. Then we are going to have single event.jsx, right? So just do RFC. Let's see. So we don't need to import React again, and then this RFC. We don't need to import React anymore, and then I think we are good. Home page RFC. So we don't need to import React anymore. So in our route, we are setting up the route. So what I'm going to do is, so this is an object, and we know that object is key value pair. So we are going to have our parts, and then the part is just going to be like this. We're going to have our parts like this, and then followed by elements. So the element is going to be our root router now, right? We are going to see shortly why I'm using the roots. I'm using the root layer, and then we are going to have the children. So it's going to be, everything is going to be under the student. Then we have another part. So the root layer is going to be a layout. So what it means is that every of the pages, whatever we want to see consistently in all the pages, right? For instance, the navbar, so it's going to be there. That just makes our work easy instead of having to import it inside every component that we need it. So it's better to have like a parent wrapper that every other component is being wrapped, is wrapped by the parent wrapper. Like there's a parent wrapper, and then it provides things that are needed consistently. So we are going to be seeing that shortly. So we have a part. So we are going to have, the first one we're going to have is going to be home, and then followed by elements like this. And then so for the elements, we are going to have home. We have home. Then I'm just going to duplicate, and then we are going to have part again. So for this part, it's going to be an ID, right? And then we have element like this. We have single event as well. So I'm just going to do this one for now. We're going to be defining the rest later. Part, which is going to be sign up. Element is going to be sign up as well. Alright, so these are the three routes that we have defined. So what it means is that if you go to our application, we come here to our application, and our home page we don't have anything, so we come back to, okay, so before we come here, let's come to our root layout. So inside our root layout, we are going to do some settings here, which is very important. So we are going to have something called outlet like this. So the outlet comes from React router. Alright, so I don't know why it's not being imported. So let's import outlet from React router. Then let's come back to our app.js. Alright, so okay, this browser router is not installed. Okay, we are not done with the app router itself. So we are going to now wrap it. Let's wrap it up here. Okay, these are router, so we are going to do this and wrap it up. So for us to wrap up, we are going to have something like this. We're going to have router provider, right? So that is what we are going to have. Then we're going to have routes. Okay, sticking that prop is called to router. It's called to this router that we have here, right? So I expect this to be imported. Imports. So let's import create browser router, then router provider from React router. So that is that. So it's a simple setup. What we have done here is to define our routes, and then we have router provider, and then we are passing this as props, right, inside this router provider. So if you check the documentation, I believe everything is stated there, and you know, it's very straightforward. Alright, so we are getting an error. What we are getting here is that import pages from root router from React router. Okay, import root from here. Shouldn't be getting any error here like this. Let's take this down. Oh, sorry, this cannot work. So it has to be like this, because I was actually expecting it to work. The same thing as well. So let's go to root. Okay, so you can see that we have home, right? So if you come back here, I think we have sign up as well, / sign up. So we have sign up. Okay, so we can see that everything is working now. All the pages are working, right? The home page is working. Then so we are done with our routing for now. So our focus is just going to be on the home page. So for the home page, what do we want to do? All right, so we are going to create another folder. So I'm just going to call it a component folder. We are going to do, it's a folder. It's just going to be components. So this will contain components that are needed in our different pages. So that's why we need this. We're just going to have a navbar.js x rfc, and then that is that. So for the navbar, what we are going to have is let's have something very simple here. So you're going to have to do link. So this link should come from React router, then to. So this is going to be to the home page. Alright, so event us like this, and then let me duplicate. So we are going to have sign up. Alright, so we are going to have dashboard. I'm going to have create. Okay, so let's just leave it like that, and then let me just put a class name here. Let's call it nav container like this. Alright, so we are not seeing anything here. So what I'm going to do to this navbar is to import it inside our home. So where's our home? Let's come to our, okay, so it's going to be inside our root. So let's come to our root. We're going to have a nav bar like this. So we can see the nav bar here. So if you go to another page, let's say we're going to sign up like this. So you can see that we still have the nav bar as well. So that is what I want to do. So what we are going to do now is I'm just going to put all the styling here. Alright, so the code is on my GitHub. You have access to the code. Alright, so to get access to the code, all I did is to come to the web, right? This is the web, this is the front end part. You can click here. Once you click here, then you get access to every of the code for the front end as well. And in order to start your development server, that means you have to change directory. You have to seed in. So you have to seed in like what I've done here. You can see is web, and then run your development server as well. So in our app.css, we are going to have a navbar for nav. So I'm just going to do nav like this. So .nav display is going to be flex. We're going to make it flex, right? So this is going to be flex. Gap is going to be 20 pixel. Then justify content is going to be what? Space between. Right? You can see there are changes already. And then what else we are going to do is going to be padding top is going to be what? 16 pixel, and then padding bottom, so it's going to be, I just write it down like this, 16 pixel. So this is what we have for the navbar. Alright, so the next thing we are going to do is to do the anchor tag, which is a link. So the link is actually anchor tag. Decoration is going to be none, and then cursor is going to be pointer, and then background color transparent. We need a background color. Sorry, you don't need this. This should be color. Color should be black. I think we are good. Oh, okay. We're not able to get that. So let's go to the navbar. So you're going to reference this and then anchor tag. So let's do this. .nav div this margin right is going to be 12 pixel, and then cursor. is going to be pointer. Alright, so that is what we have, right? So I can just, for now, okay, maybe for now, let's just comment this out for now. Alright, so this is just what we have. Alright, so and then so still on the navbar, don't forget that we have a container, right? We have two classes. We have the nav and the container. Alright, so the container coming back here, let's just going to do dot container. What are we going to have? Max width, need it to be have a pixel like this, then margin. In order to centralize it, that's why you have to write 0, padding, margin top and bottom, then left and right will be auto, and then padding is going to be 0 and then 20 pixel, like that. So that is that. And then when we go back, this is what we have. Alright, so and then this has been imported here. Alright, so I think we can get started on our home page. So let's do some things in our home page. Go to our home page. So what we want to do in our home page is to consume the endpoints, right? So we want to fetch these endpoints that we have here. We want to be able to get, okay, so this is what we want to do. If you come back to our here, right, come back to get events, and then when I click on request, everything we are seeing here, right, let me just take this out like this. Everything we are seeing here, is it correct? So we have how many now? Everything we are seeing here is what we want to, these details is what we want to see on the home page. That's what we want to get it. That's what we want to show here. And for us to be able to do that, we need to, let's go back to our home page, and then we are going to start. So we are going to make a network call. And for us to be able to make the network call, we are going to do cost fetch event equals to async. Is an asynchronous we're going to use async, and then we are going to have, so that's it. I'm defining a function, asynchronous function, and then arrow function. I'm saying const response equals to await. When you use asynchronous, when you define asynchronous as a function, then you have to use await. Await fetch. Fetch is a browser method that helps to make that request. So what request are we making? So I'm going to create another folder, right? So let's create another folder. I'm just going to call it it is like this. So inside I'm going to have api.js. So here I'm going to have like a base call it base URL, right? So it's going to be, if you come back here, if I pick any of this guy here, let's say get, I'm just going to copy this. Let's cut this guy. I'm going to have this like this. Alright, so I'm going to export it so that everywhere I need it, I don't have to be repeating myself. So that's what I'm going to do. So when we come back to our home, let's go back to our home. So we're going to just do so we can just do something like this. Just is a variable, right? Just going to do base URL. You can see I've imported it, and then slash events like this, and that works. And then we are going to get our data equals to await response. response.json. It's going to be in JSON, and then what we can do console.log to see if the data is there. And then one thing we can also do, so I'm going to use effect. So the reason why I'm using use effect is that your projects will get rendered. What we see by render means that when you click a button, your component is just like when you are restarting your laptop. The project gets refreshed. So I don't want to be making the call every time something makes the component to refresh or to re-render, and that is why I'm going to use effect. So use effect just make sure that it is done just once, right? So just going to takes a callback. The use effect is going to take a callback, and then I'm going to put a dependency array here as well. So I'm going to be making this call inside the use effect like this. All right, so let's do this, and that is all, right? So we can do something. Let's get to here, our browser, our console, and let's see what we have. So we can see that this is working. We can see the data that we are doing the console is here already. So you can see that the data is here. We can see status message. So if I do dot message data dot message, so just check, you can see that you can see events retrieved successfully. So that's not what we need. All right, so what we need is the data. So that means you have to be what? Data dot data. So if you check what we have now, you can see this is the data. All right, so the data we have here, we don't want it here. We want it to be displayed in our UI. And how do we do that? So how we are going to do that is to have a state. So const event set event equals to use state. So use state is an hook provided to us by React. And one thing that we need to take notice, we can see here that is an array. It's an array of objects. You can see that it's an array of objects. So that's why I'm setting it to an empty array here. So what I'm going to do is state as a variable. This is a variable, and then this is a method to update the variable. So how it works is I'm going to pick this set event. I'm going to put it here so that the data will now be saved inside this variable, and then when we do console log it, then we can get it. So if I close now, we are not seeing anything rendered to the page now. All right, so that's how it is. So if let's do something, let's do console.log, so that you see that it's already saved inside events. So if I come to events, what is, you can see that it's being logged out here because it is now existing inside it. So this state is like a container that holds whatever we are fetching here. So it's already inside here, and that is how it works. So what we are now going to do now is to do few things. I'm going to have a class of container, or I wrote, okay, and so let me just write a wrapper here, a wrapper, and then what we are going to have is we are going to have dot euro right. Oh, sorry. So the euro has to do with the image that we are going to have. I'm going to show us very soon. Eventos management app. And then we are going to have the link to. So it's going to route you to that sign up page. This is get started. So that is what we have. So the link has to be imported. I don't know why this link is not being imported. All right, so that is that. So we can now do what we call, so we open a curly braces. So this is an event, is a variable, and then in our JSX it starts to be inside the braces like this. So event is going to be event.map. So you are mapping through Okay, the data that we have here, we have to map through. So we are going to do dot map. So going to have to map through like this. So dot map. So you're going to have passing an event like this. So you are going to return. So you can return and just do div. So we are going to have a class of card. And then what else are we going to have? Okay, so let me put this inside a variable div.container because I want it to be centered. So let's do format, and then we are going to have to do with so we are going to have a key. It's going to be event.id, just a way to uniquely identify every of the words, every of the events. So what we are going to have is going to be, so we are going to have a div. It's going to be class name equals to events calendar. Then we are going to have event calendar, and we are going to have event calendar, there's something else that we are going to do. Event calendar. So we are going to have an image because that event is going to have an icon. So let me just do img like this. So let's have a small event icon. So this is event calendar. Okay, so I think let's get event calendar from here. Events calendar. So this is it from inside here. Just want to minimize this. Alright, so let's okay, so I'm just going to pick let's pick this, take these two and then pack it inside the assets, and that's all I need to do. So I'm going to take So we can now, what I'm going to do right now is to all right. What we are working on, or what we are still doing, is to loop over the events. And we know that the event is an array of objects, right? So it's an array of objects that we know, and we are looping, and then we want to be able to get out all the values that we have. We want to be able to get out the names, the descriptions. We have name, description, locations, and these are things that we want to get out individually, and that is why I'm looping. So I want to have a calendar, and I'm just going to import the calendar. So let's import calendar like this. Let's do calendar from asset slash calendar.svg. So the calendar is going to be a small letter, and what we are going to come here is we are importing going to be calendar like this. All right, so if you have a calendar icon, right, so that is what we have. And the reason why we're having it in 3 like this is because we are looping through an array of objects that has 3 objects. So that is that. So a little addition I have done is to come to our app.js, and then I copied the styling and I pasted it here just to kind of speed up our development time. So the styling is available on my GitHub. On the GitHub, you can come to inside the web. By the time you open it, go to the source folder, and then under the source you see the app.css. All the stylings are there, so you can copy it and then paste it in your inside your app.css. So I'll be explaining some of them and how I'm using them. Alright, so that is that about styling. And the reason why I'm having it inside the app.css is I can as well put it inside my index, is because in our app.js, that is where we set up our routing. So every pages that those styles are needed, they are already here. So it will still kind of affect every pages, and that is why we have it there. So that is that. So the next thing we want to do is the first thing is the time. Right, so we know that the time format that we have, right? So I just want to do, let's just do p like this. So let's see event dot date time like this, right? So this is what we are going to have. Okay, we are not even seeing anything yet. Okay. Event date time. Okay, this should be small t. Date time. So can we see the format that we have? And I don't want it to be in this format. Alright, so what I'm going to do is to kind of format the date properly. So let's come inside this place. So let's have another file here. Let's have another file here. Let's just open another file. Let's call it date.js. And then I'm going to import. We are going to need moment here. So I'm going to do export const format date time. So we are going to pass date time like this as an argument. Then we have return moment. Date time dot format. So we are formatting it properly. DDD MMM. Then we have y. So that is that is that. So we have to import moment. Okay, let's import moment. Okay, how do we so let's get moment. okay, so this is it, right? So let's take it and then let's bring it here. npm I moment. So we are going to install it. So moment is installed. How do you know that? Oh, I hope we didn't make that same mistake again. Alright, so how do we know that moment has been installed? Go to your package.json, then you see moment here as well. So that is how we know that moment has been installed. And then we can now import moment since we use moment here. Okay, let's import it. Import moment from moment, and that is it. So in our home here, so we are going to format it. See, format date time. All right, so we are going to format date time. Okay, so it's going to be a function. Yeah. So going to make it a function date time. So this is going to be here like this. So import it. So we have it imported already. Right, so that is, so we check our browser, what do we have? We see that we have it nicely formatted. So this is how I wanted it to be. So that is that. So the next thing we want to do is to so we are done with that. Then let's get the name. It should be what? Event.name like this. Then let's have a p class tag. Let's have a class name event description. So in the event description, we are going to have event.description description like this. So we can see that our project is taking shape. So this is what we have, right? So we have the list of events, and then yeah, so this is what we have, the description. But these things that we have is a bit much, so I'm going to use .substring string on it. Is a method on string. Okay, so just to limit it to 170, and then we can see, don't want the text to be much. We're going to do plus ... All right, so that is so when we click on it, then we can read more details about the event. All right, so that is that. So the next is going to be a div. Then we're going to have a class name. Then we're going to call it btn. So we're going to have learn more. So div bt. Okay, let's have a event. Sorry, it's going to be event link. Then we should have button dot btn. Then inside the button is where we are going to have, so we should be able to link. All right, need this to be properly formatted for me. All right, so then we are going to have an image like this. It's going to be forward arrow. So we're going to import the image, forward arrow from access slash check. This is a forward arrow, forward arrow, forward arrow, arrow.svg. So this is going to be a small letter, forward arrow.svg. So the forward arrow is what we now bring it here. Import, after you import, and then you paste it here. Forward arrow. So we are so this is what we have. So learn more, and that is what we have, right? Right. So what do we need to do next is you're supposed to have a link. So when we click, this should go to the individual single page. That is what this is supposed to do. So our clicking should just go to single individual page, and I'm going to do something now. So we are done with this. So what happens when we don't have any events, right? So there's what we call ternary operators in JavaScript or in JavaScript. So what it means is that we want to render something if that thing is available, and if it's not available, then you should render something else. That is just how it is. All right. So in case if there is no event, let's say in a scenario whereby we don't have any event, then this should not be blank. There should be a message that should be rendered. So I'm just going to copy everything that we have here. So I'm going to have events. So let's say events like this dot length. So if the length is greater than 0, right? So it means if the length is greater than 0, then we are going to paste this guy here, div dot event card. Class, we have event card like this. All right. So and then so if the length is greater than 0, then whatever we have here gets rendered, and if it's not, then the opposite happens. So this is going to be h1. So we have no event added yet, right? So let's see. So inside here we are going to put, let's see, all events. Just want to do all events. All right. So we see all events are here. So let's just do question tag of, you see, no event added yet, right? Because by using this question tag here, by using this this sign, negates this. So that means it automatically becomes, this becomes, so no event added yet. So let's put it here. Just going to do something. So let's do, all right. So what I've done is, so it's a condition. So we see that what we have here is we have the events we have all the events, right, practically. And what I've done here is the event cards that we have here. So let me open by the left and just quickly take us to the CSS. So let's have our CSS by the side here. And so we have event cards, right? So the event card is what determines we having 3 columns. And if you come here and do event card, so we can see that event card is what I'm using here is I'm using grid, display grid, and then I'm specifying the number of columns that I want. So I'm saying I want 3 columns. You can see 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So that's just to specify. And then there's going to be gap. So it means that the gap between individual column is going to be 32 pixel, and then the margin top is going to just, what is responsible for this is margin top, which is 50 pixel. So that is what is responsible for this. All right, so that's the major styling there. And so that is that. The other ones are the cards that we have here. They are just pretty straightforward. So that is what is responsible for the boss shadow and then the border radius as well. So I'm just going to close this, and then I'm just, so if I come here and then put this as well, you see that no event added yet, right? So this applies in case we don't have any events. So instead of leaving this place blank, then there's going to be like an alternative message that gets displayed, no event added yet. All right, so that is that. All right, so just to help users, a better users experience. So that is that. So I'm just going to work quickly on the footer now, so that we have some a little bit of space. So let's create a file called footer.jsx like this, rfc. So we're going to create the footer, and then I'm just going to do here. So I'm just going to do dot container. Container is just a means for us to have our content centered, right? So that is what is responsible for our stuff being in the center like this. So container dot footer, right? So I'm having 2 classes. So we go back to our CSS, come back to our CSS, we see what we talk about containers. So you can see that I'm having the maximum width should be 1200 pixel, then margin up and down, which is 0, then left and right, margin left and right should be auto. So that's what is responsible for equal spaces, and that is what we have done there, and then padding and the like. So the question is the image that we have here. So I'm going to come back to this image shortly, but let's just finish up with our footer session. So, and then there's going to be a footer here. So for the footer, we have a margin top should be 50, margin bottom should be 50, then display, and then display flex. That means the content, and then justify content center. So coming back to where's our footer? So let's come back to our footer. So I'm going to have, let's do copy. So we're going to have new dates like this, dot get full year like this. So what we have is going to be events management app, or rights reserved. So that is that. So we have the component here. So what we need to do now is to import it, and where we are going to import it is going to be here. So just have to place it here. So it's going to be here, just a footer, and that is it. So we go back to our application, then we have it here. Okay, so our application is taking shape. And how did I arrive here? So I'm just going to go back to our home page, and so instead of having to write everything with our logic here, we are fetching data at the same time having our this thing here. So I'm just going to create a component here. So I want to have the UI separated, and then I'm going to be passing the events that is coming from the API as a props. So prop is a way of passing that information from a parent component to a child component, JSX like this. So RFC. So I'm just going to be doing that right now. So let's take what we have here. So I'm just going to copy everything that we have done from this place down to this place. Copy everything. So let's copy it. Event list, and then let's paste it here. Right, so this is better to have it here, format properly, and then it's just going to come to the home page, and then let's import it. So you just do event listing, right? So you see this is, let's take this guy from here. So let's take it. I think there are other things that we need. Home. All right. So let's take it to the event listing. All right. So if you check our page, you see that nothing is working here because event is not being passed. Right. So we are using event here. So what we need to do is to come back to our home. So this is the event that we are talking about here. Then we have to pass it down as prop inside this component. So we are going to say event equals to, we are going to pass it down that information. So this is a parent component, and what makes it a parent component is because this component is inside this component, right? We are importing it inside home component. So home component is our home page, right? So this component is used inside home page, so we are passing it down. So this information that we have, the array of objects that we get when we fetch our data, then we are passing it down here, and that is exactly what I'm doing there. I am passing it down. So let's come back to this component, and then we destructure it. So we can destructure like this event, like this. So if you, okay, is it event? Let's be sure. Yes, so it is events, right? So that is that. So if you go back to our page, we expect this to work, so we can see that everything works perfectly. All right, so that is that with that. And then coming back to our home page, one observation is to see that, okay, we have hero. So what is hero? Right, we can see the inventors management app, and then let's get started. So this is the picture that what we have here. And how did we arrive there? So we'll come back to our CSS app.css, and what we see is we see hero, right? So hero is just, if I had like, let's have a background color of 10 pixels solid red like this. You should see, you can see, right? So what I've done is I'm giving it a height of 400, and that is what is making it, that gives you that height. So if you increase the height, then you expect to get more height. And then I have a background of, this is a background color. So what I've done is to get this image online, so you can also as well get this image as well from online. If I copy it and then we come here and paste it, so you can see this image is from the, it's online, all right, from Unsplash. That's where I got the image from. So what I also did was to kind of add a little bit of an overlay, like a dark overlay, right? So that is what is, that makes it responsible to have like a one faded black layer on the image, so that the image can come out, so that the text written on it can come out more. All right, so if I increase it, let's say I make it 9, let's make this one 9, you can see it's very dark, right? So that's just a little bit of a layout. So let's take it back to what we have before. All right, and that is that. So the rest of it is background, image, cover, position, height, flex. The flex, column, center, align, and then justify. All these are what is responsible for the text and the button to be at the center of the page. All right, so when we click, go to what do we go to? We go to the sign up, which we are going to be designing much more later. So that is that about this page. And our next focus is just going to be on the single sign up. So what we want to do now is that when you click on this, you want to be able to link to the individual page, right? When you click, you want to go to the, let's say, want to be able to go to /1. That is what we want to be able to do. All right. So, and for us to be able to do that, that's a dynamic route. We need to come back to our single events. Let's get to our single events, and we are going to make in some endpoint requests there as well. So I'm just going to do some. Let's do class is going to be a container like this, having it as a container. And then what we are going to do next is h1 is going to be what? Event details. All right, so that is that, and event details. So we are going to have, so this is getting a single event, right? So what we want to do is to get a single event. So before we start doing that, let's fetch. We have to fetch it, so we can see that from the list of endpoint given to us. So we worked on this public one. So this is to fetch all the events, which is already done on the home page. So the next one is we want to get details. We want to retrieve detail of a specific event. And for us to be able to do that, then we need the ID. All right, so that's very important that we need to do that. So we are going to just do events, since it's just a single event, just to get details of that single event. States like this. So we're going to have an empty object like this there. So I'm going to have const. So I'm going to destructure this ID because we need the ID for that specific event, and React query gives us params, right, that can help us achieve that. So this is this like this, and so let's fetch. So I'm going to do const fetch events. You're going to async like this. So for us to be able to fetch, we know that we need an ID, right? So it's going to have an argument of ID here, and then we are going to do try and catch in case if there's error. Catch error like this. So let's make our request inside here. So we're going to do const response equals to await, since we are using async, and then we are going to have to do it our base URL, right? Our base URL /events / the user ID, which is going to be what? ID like this from the arguments, and that is that. So if, right, so in case there's an error okay, so we are using fetch, right? So we need to do this in order to check for error. So you can throw new error. You can do failed to fetch event details, right? And then we can now proceed further to do const data. One of the things we can always do is to response.json. We can always do console. So we are going to set events to that to data.data. Right, so why are we doing data.data? So if you do console.log.data like this, right? So if you go to, let's do one. I don't know. Okay. So let's just finish what we are doing. So what next do we want to do? Okay, so I'll just do console.log could not fetch events details, right? So error. So that is that. So we're going to use this effect. So it's going to take a callback. It's going to take a callback, right? So and then so let's do our fetch events, and then we are calling the function inside the use effect, so that we don't have, it doesn't, the essence of having it inside the use effect is that if there's a button, it doesn't guess, anything that when you click a button, maybe there's a function, there's a method that you called on that page, it doesn't trigger because there will be need for the page to reload or re-render. So use effect just make sure that it is only render once. That's the essence of using this empty array dependencies, right? So that's very important. So what are we going to do now is to, I think, can we go? Okay. So I want to set up this page. So we have events. So let's do this. So I'm going to have a button, and then the button is to go back. So on that button, we are going to have on click, just get everything done. Navigate, no, -1, just to go to the previous place. So we are going to have a class name, which is going to be previous page. Alright, so the next thing is, let's have a div dot event list. So we are expecting a single event. So it's just going to be objects, right? We don't need to, it's not an array of objects like what we had before. So it's going to be format dtime. It's going to be event dot dtime. Event dot name, event dot description. So h4, we're going to have location, event dot location as well. So that's what we have. And then I'm just going to do something here. I'm just going to do const navigate equals to use navigate. So that is what helps to route to any page you want to route to. So this should come from React router, right? So we can see use navigate, use param comes from React router. So I think we are good, right? I think we are good. So what we are going to do now is to go to our home page. Let me see, trying to see. Okay, so let's check our app.js. Oh, this is not properly set up, and that's why I'm having that error. So there should be a column like this, right? So you should have double dots like this. I mean, that's why I'm having those error, right? I was like, why? Hey, this is what I'm supposed to have since. Yes, is making sense now, right? And something is wrong, right? Except we don't have one, right? Maybe we don't have. Okay, so let's go. So nothing is fetching. So what I'm going to do is go to our single event. In our single event, I'm doing console.log here, right? So there's a problem on this page. Could not fetch details, failed to fetch details. Why can't we fetch details? So we need to check reasons why we cannot fetch details. We need to see reasons why we can't fetch details. Have we done anything? Why can't we fetch details? So const fetch id, we have const await fetch, then slash id. Yes. Okay, let's come back here. Could not fetch details. Bad requests. Undefined. Okay, we are getting undefined, right? So our id is a problem here. Our id is a problem here. So I'm going to do, why is the id not console.log our id? So yeah, we are getting our id. Our id is not a problem. So why is it saying undefined? And that is what we need to find out. Why? Because we have id here, and then the id is here. So we have id, and the id is here. Oh, we are not passing the id here when we are calling the function, right? So we just put an id here. So everything should work well now. Yeah. Alright, so exactly. Okay, so everything is working perfectly now. I mean, this is what we want, so we can always go back. So but what we want to do is when you click here, then it should route you to those individual pages. So how do we do that? So before I move, right, instead of having our data, the logic, and then the UI, so let's separate it. So we are going to do that separation. So I'm just going to do so I'm just going to cut this away. So let's cut it. So I'm just going to create event list. So I'll just create something that's called event list.js like this, rfc like this. So we don't need React. You don't need to import React. You don't have to import React. So I'll just take this and then put it here like this. Oh no, you can't have an empty. You need to have a single wrapper in React. So let's just do format. So the same thing, we have to pass in this event as a prop, right? You're passing that data. You know that data is coming from here, right? This single event is coming, so we put it. So let's import. So this is going to be event list like this, and then we are passing event, right? So we should be good now. We should be good now. So this guy, we don't need it here, and then so it has to be here now. Then this other guy, we don't need it here. Okay, so bring it here. All right, so we are good now. So let's do /1. Okay, maybe let's make it 3. Yeah, so we are good. So what we need to do now is when we click here, then it should go to those specific routes. And what we need to do is to, before I leave this place, I'm going to have some set of buttons. Here. So we are going to have to do div.event btn like this, and then we are going to have button like this. So let's have it. Okay, let's have this. This is going to be register for. event. Then this is to cancel events, right? So that is that about those two buttons. So if you come back here and let's do /3 exactly. So this is what I want to achieve, right? I don't like this. I think instead of putting it here, I don't think it should be here, although it should be on every page. It should be on every page. So I'll just put it in our home page. It should be on every page. It should be on every page. So let me come to home. So let's just put the footer here. So those are just a little adjustment to make. Alright, so we have, so normally the footer should be here, so we have the footer here. So okay, so what else? So we want to click here and then it goes to the individual routes. So what we need to do is to come to our home page. Let's come to our home page. This is our home page, and home page. So when we get to our home page, go to event listing. So our event listing is this. Event listing is this listing. So instead of using a div here, because I want it that when you click on it, you can also just go directly. Alright, so we can actually do that here by on this button, just do on click. So you have on click, then you have navigate. So you have navigate. I needed to do this. Navigate, then we have /this. So we use event ID, right? We know that when we map to, we also get event ID. So that's event ID, which is going to be is a number, right, to route. So we are going to now do const navigate equals to use navigate like this. Alright, so if I come here and then click this guy, okay, I'm not getting to, there's a problem somewhere. Let's click here, the same thing. We're missing something else, the same thing. Alright, so what is happening? What is happening? We need to figure this out. So before I leave, I just want to, okay, so what we are going to do is this. Let me do the console.log and let's check the log and know what exactly is happening. I click here, so it's working perfectly now. So you can see that it's working perfectly. Click here, it's working perfectly. So go back, then click here, it's working perfectly. Alright, so let's come back again. Click here, so we can get details now. Yeah, everything works perfectly. Then the same thing here, everything works perfectly. So I don't want it to just be when you click here. I mean, when you just click on the entire card, everything should just work. So we are going to have link like this too. So we are going to change everything to link like this. So this is now going to be it's going to be this event.id. So the link is very important to import it from React Router. So that is that. So what it means is I just need to click on this guy, right? Just click on this guy, it takes you to this. Click on this guy, it takes you there. So that is that. So the next focus is going to be on, our next area of focus is going to be on on the sign up page. So let's focus on the sign up page. This is a sign up page. We're going to be designing this really quick. Sign up page, and so we are going to have, it's going to be a class wrapper. So the sign up and the login is just going to be on the single page. And so let's do dot sign up dot register. We are going to have two classes. Container, I need it to be in the middle, so we are going to have a form. Okay, a form. Then inside that form we are going to have each one. So we have a class name of title, which is going to be account sign up, like this. So the next is going to be div label email. Then this is going to be input email, and that is that for the div. So let's copy this, let's duplicate, and then this is going to be a password, and then the type is going to be a password. Alright, so what are we going to do is to have an input is going to be to submit. So the value is going to be sign up like this. Alright, so we can see what we have already. Alright, so let's check out our email and see what's the problem with our email. So email, account sign up, type is email. Oh, type is going to be test. Let me use test. Alright, so I'm going to write required here. Okay, that should have been email. That's a mistake. Alright, so that is that. So email and then test. So this is what we need, and then we are not. So that's for this part. Right, so for the login, we are going to have a tab that when you click on the button, then it takes you, it's like a tab that changes. That's what we want to do. So I'm just going to create a tab here. I'm just going to do, so what we are going to do is to do let's do step set step is going to be use state, like this. So it's going to be 1 by default, right? So what I'm now going to do is conditionally. So let's wrap this guy conditionally. Going to wrap this guy conditionally. So it's a conditional thing that we are going to do. So we're going to say step. If step is equals to 0, if it's equals to 0, and this, so let's paste it. So let's format properly. So we are not seeing anything, right? Because our use state is not defined, right? We are not seeing anything, right? Because the step initial value, the state always needs an initial value, which is going to be 1. So if I make it 0, then you see it here. Can you see? So it will appear. And I want it to be 1 because I'm going to set, I want login should be the first thing to show. So that's what I want to do. And so I think we can just copy this guy. You just copy it. So you can copy it and then make this one 1. And then this is just going to be account login, guys. So this is going to be account login. And then still pretty the same thing. So you can see instead of account login, then this is going to be login. So this is login. Then we have sign up and login. So how do we now switch the tab? That is what we want to do now. So switching that tab is going to happen here. Let's have a div like this, and then we are going to have to do with div dot login, account login. So account login. Account login. So let's have already have an account. So let's have a span and let's just do login. Right, so this is going to be a ternary operation like operator as well. So I'm saying if the step is equals to 0 like this, right? If it's equals to 0, so if it's equals to 0, that is what should show. So we have this as a second alternative, then we have div. So this is going to be, let's have a class sign up container. P1 is if you are new, register below. And then the next one is going to be div dot sign up btn. So this is going to be, create new account. So let's see what we have. So we can see basically, so what we are saying now is if you are new, register below. So when you click here, then it should take you to sign up. It's a tab. So for me to achieve that, that means we are going to have a function on click here. So inside on click here, we can have something like this. We can have set step is going to be 0, right? So we can see that when we are setting our states, we add something. We have a state. So this is a method to change your state from current to from the initial to the current state. So that's so on click is a method, right? So it's an event. In JavaScript we have different events, right? So to trigger something. So when I click here now, this is going to change. Can you see now? It has changed to sign up. So when I click login, then it should take me back. Alright, so that's the same thing we want to do. So I will just copy this guy here. Let's go to login. So this one will be what? 1. So when I click on login, it takes me to login. Then when I click on create a new account, then it takes me to sign up page. Alright, so now that we are done with the UI, then we want to work on the functionality. So what we want to do is that we are saying that when you create an account should be created for you, stored in a database, and then with the credentials you can now log in into the application. So when you log in, then you should be able to create, you should be able to delete, you should be able to register, you should be able to cancel registration, you should be able to edit. So those are the things that you should be able to do. So our focus is going to be on the protected route, right? So that these are the endpoints that we are going to be working on. So we have about 5 endpoints that we are going to be working on for protected routes. So, and then since our protected route is going to span towards, we are going to have different pages, then there's a need for us to have a global state. So a global state is that we know that on the back end, for us to be able to access any of these pages, we need a token. Token is like a means of identification for every request that we make. Every of the requests to the database or to the server comes with the token as a means of an identity. So I'm just going to show us something really quick. So I'm just going to go on the back end. I'm just going to show us something really very fast here. So I'm just going to try to log in. So can we log in? So I'm just going to log in. So let me log in with this. So you see that a token will be generated for us. So this is a token that's generated for us. So I'm just going to copy this token. So we see the things that are contained in this token. So at every request, we need this token. You understand? So whenever I want to create, whenever I want to delete, we need to have this token as a means of identity. So if you come to WJT like this, so let's do this. So I'm just going to take here, let's take what you have here, and then let's paste it here. So what do you see? You can see that tests at sample, we can see. So the details of what I have, what do we see? We see example, right? We are seeing example, we are seeing test at example.com, exactly everything that we have. So we can see that the user ID is 1. So every request that I'm making comes with a token, especially for a protected route, right? So since we are going to have many pages, then we need to set up a global state, right? So that's what I'm just going to focus on now. So let's do that, and we'll get what I'm saying much better. So we're going to have an auth contest, right? So what we have, or what we have done so far, is we have our local states, right? So we have different states. These are states that is local to the component, because we talk about components as building block of your UI. That's just React. It's basically, components are basically building blocks. So and a component has a state. So state is more like a memory, right? That means you can have an initial state and then you can have a current state. It means, oh, you move from a 0 to 150, then from 150 back to 0. So what keeps track of that is our states. All right. So even though the page refreshes, your component renders multiple times, the state is preserved. That is what we are talking about here. So your state is preserved. Well, it doesn't matter how many times the pages renders. All right. So, but there are times that you need a data. So this is like, okay, the state is talking about data that is preserved in that specific component. So there are times that you need data across different components, and that is where we talk about global state management. All right. So that is that. I think I can do escalate here. So what I'm talking about here is we have a state. States. I mean, what we are talking about states, we are talking about data, right? And we use states. So use states refers to a component. So that means you have a data that is just to a specific component. That is, you talk about use states. But when you need a data across multiple components, then it is just best to have a global state. And what we use in React, we use context. That is what we use in React, and that is what we're going to be. So because we need to be able to set something and then use it in multiple components. So let's see this in X. So we have use, we have auth context .js. So we're going to have const auth context like this is going to be create context like this. Alright, so we are going to have exports const auth provider like this. So it's going to take children is going to take children and then our arrow function like this. So we are going to have const is authenticated, set is authenticated. So we are going to have use state and then we are going to have false, right? So this is to check status of authentication. Then we have is loading, then we have set is loading. So we are going to have use state, so it's going to be what? True. So we need a use effect, so it's going to take a callback. Okay, so a callback function is where you are passing a function inside another function. That's just a callback. So we have cost token. Okay, because when you log in, you are going to get a token, right? So when you log in, so you are going to get a token, and then that token has to be stored somewhere for subsequent requests that you'll be making. Token set is authenticated is, so this is just inverse of saying token and then set is loading to be what? To be false as well. Alright, so that is that. So on the load of this, what you expect is to get the token and then set this one. This is false, this becomes true here, and then this is true, then this becomes false. So that is that. Then let's put our dependencies, because if you don't put array dependencies, it's as just cost login is going to be token like this, local storage dot set token. So we know that when we log in is when we actually set our token, because when you log in you get a token. So we need to set our token, and then we are going to use event token. So it's key value pair, and then we have token like this. So when we are done, we are going to check it and then set is authenticated to what? True. Right, so that's the condition that we're going to use. We have const logout. So this will help us to be able to log out. Local storage dot remove items. So when we log out, we just want to remove the token, and then we just have to use the key event token. Then we say set is authenticated to be what? False. So that's that. And then finally we are going to return authenticated auth provider. So we are going to have a value So I'm going to pass is authenticated, is loading, login, logouts. Auth provider. So in between us, just going to be the children. All right, so this is what we have, and then we're going to do exports. Exports const use auth. Gonna do this, and then we use context. So use context is going to be auth context. All right, so that is, so two things are very important when we are trying to create a global state management. We have to call the create context, then we have, we have to do the provider create context, and then when we want to get access to the global state, it's important that we call this to use context. That is to just signify that we want to use what has been created. And then we have our provider here where we say auth context dot provider as well. So that's basically. So I'm just going to do the protected route here. Let's just do const inside the. So as you can see that I'm writing different. I'm having multiple components. I'm having multiple components in a same file. So what it means is that there's a name exports and there's a default exports. So you can't have many export defaults in a file, but you can have as many name exports. So name export is, you see that I never use anything like default exports in this file. So unlike the other ones where we can see default exports, these are just name exports. So you can have as many components as possible, right? And then you can have as many name component as many name defaults. I mean, a way of exporting the things you have inside your component. You have to export. A component is a function, right? But what makes it different from function or other functions is because it returns JSX, and then you can export it, and then it starts with a capital letter. You see that every of the component that we have been writing starts with a capital letter. All right, so in our own case, we can have just one name, just one default export in a file, but we can have as many named exports. So we can see this is an example of a name export because this does not have what export default, right? So that is that. So I'm just going to make this one export default, protected route, like this. So you use auths like this. So we are good. We are saying if is loading, so return okay, or return is authenticated. So if it's authenticated is true, then we are going to have children, same, we are going to have navigate, so to sign up. All right, okay, so this navigate is, it's act like it's a component, right? So what we are saying is that if it's authenticated is true, then it goes to the children. So this protected route, let's do export defaults like this. So we have protected routes. So I'm going to be seeing this shortly. So I'm just going to create some components. Let's say create events RFC. So let's come here and create another one. Let's call it dashboard.js. So let's create another component. Let's call it edit. Edit event.js. Alright, so all these pages are going to be protected. Alright, so that means you cannot access them except you are logged in, except you log in inside the page. So that's just what it means. You have to log in to the page to be able to access any of this page. So what are we going to do now? So let's go to our app.js. Let's go to our routes and then do some setting up. So it's going to be different. So put a comma here for the dashboard. We're going to have a path dashboard. Element. So element is now going to be our protected page. You can see that protected routes. So in between is going to be children, which is now going to be what? Is going to be what? Dashboard. So it means if you are not logged in, we can see from the auth, it takes children, right? So if you are not logged in, you are not going to see the dashboard. And we are going to see that shortly. So let's duplicate this. Oh God. So this is, instead of this, is going to be create, and then this is going to be create event. This is going to be a dynamic route event. It's going to be a dynamic route edit event. Alright, so these are protected routes that you have to be logged in to be able to access any of these routes, right? So that is that. So if you are not logged in, you can't access any of those routes, right? You cannot. So if I try to go to the dashboard like this to bounce me back, we are not even seeing anything, right? So let's do some things. Why is it? So let's work on the functionality. Okay, let me comment these guys out and see why this thing is. Okay, let's check it out. Oh, create context is not defined. Something must be happening. Create context is not defined, so use context serve is not defined. So if you come to here, let's say you try to go to dashboard like this, you can see it's not. So let's just let's do the functionality here, and then I'll just quickly touch on the navbar. Let's touch on the navbar. This is our navbar. So what are we going to do with our navbar now? So I'm going to have to use my context here, right? So the context is not going to work. The context is not working because we need to wrap it with our entire, it's a global state. We need to wrap it with our entire application. That is why it's not working, and that's why we are getting that error. So main.jsx. So you are going to do something like this. You are going to do auth provider. So we have to provide it. Auth provider. So let's take this guy, and that is it. Okay, so we are good now. So let's just work on, can we work on our navbar? Let's just work on our navbar for now. So what are we going to do is to get our context const is authenticated is login. We have logout equals to use auth like this. If is loading is like this, you are going to return div. So we're going to do loading. So let's have a class name like that. So if you are authenticated, right, and if you are not, we know that by default this is false. So you go to our auth, you see that this is, oh, okay, by default it is true, right? So when you are now authenticated, it becomes false. So that means this is going to run first, right? So it's going to run first. Let's go to our navbar. So let me just do something. This should not be. Use auth. Auth is not defined. Why are you saying auth is not defined? Let's try and get this error. Use auth is not defined. Use auth is not defined. Let's try and fix all our error. We don't need auth anywhere there. Okay, let's go to this place. Okay, so this is saying, oh, in our navbar. So let's go to our navbar. Okay, we are not defined. All right. These guys can be very funny. So let's come here. So instead of, okay, we are getting our dashboard. Why are we getting our dashboard? Is it not protected? It is protected. Okay, let's go. So let me do so let's work here. Something I'm trying to check there. We have sign up. Okay, so let's going to have is authenticated. Let's make it a div. Is authenticated. Okay, so that's what we're going to have. Is authenticated. Then we are going to have this. So let's take this. All right, so that is that. So this should be to the dashboard. This should be to create. So we are going to have a logout button. We're going to have a logout button. A logout button. Okay. So inside the logout button, we are going to have const nav, because when you log out, it should take you use navigate. So now I'm going to write an handler like this, const handle logout. So take this. Okay, so what are we going to return? Let's return button like this. It's going to have a class of logout. So you have logouts. And click and do logouts. Alright, so you're going to have navigate. So when you log out, it should take you to sign up page. So it will take you to sign up page. So let's finish up with our navbar, and so you're going to have a log out button. Alright, so this logout button, we are going to pass in this logout. Don't forget that this is coming from our hot. Right, so if you go to our hot, you can see these are the things that we pass as values. So where's our number? So you're going to pass logouts. Exactly. And then let's go here. So we're going to call the logouts here. So when we log out, so when we are logging out, we are just calling this guy in our auth. So this is what happens. Okay, remove from the local storage and all of that. So by the time when we do the sign up, we understand better. So that's navbar. I think we are good with the navbar. So this is going to, so if you come to the navbar, so you are seeing all this guy here, right? Because we don't have anything in our local storage yet. That's why you are seeing everything that is showing here, right? We don't have any token in our local storage. So if you come to our application, local storage, oh, we have something in our local storage. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? How did it get here? Okay, let me clear it. Okay, so I've cleared it. There's nothing there, so you can see everything has disappeared. Alright, so this one should not disappear. Right, so these are the ones that should disappear. Right, so what should disappear is this that should not show, because authentication by default is authenticated is what is false. So, and I'm saying if it's false, then it should not show. So if it's false, then these guys are not supposed to show. This and means if this is false, then it will not show. So but this one should show, so just negate it. That means it's false by default, but with this tag it make it true. So we have sign up. So by the time we log in, then we will not see this one anymore. Then we are going to see these three other guy. Do you get? So it's just like saying this and then something like this. What do we see? Exactly. Okay, so we see logout, we see dashboard, we see create. So that's how it's going to be. Alright, so that is that with dashboard. So what we want to just work on is to sign up. So let's work on the logic for sign up. Let's work on our sign up. So we want to be able to sign up. Presently we can't sign up now. So if you come back here, you click, we can't log in, nothing happens. Can as well. So we have to, what am I trying to do is to do, let's go to our sign up. So we begin to write the code. Oh, this is going to be, so for us to sign up, one thing that is very, very important is to create a state for our inputs. Alright, so to sign up, we need to create a state for our inputs, and that is going to be, yes, so we are going to create const email set email equals to use state empty, then const password set password equals to use empty, like this. Alright, so that makes sense. So what we now come to do down here is to come here, say value equals to email, then we have an unchange to take whatever is being stored, e, and then set email equals to e dot target dot value. So I'm just going to take this guy here and then paste it here. So this one is going to be password and then password. So for login to, it's just going to be const user email. You can use the same thing. Set user email. Use states. Const user password. User password sets user password use states. Alright, so we are just going to come here and then this one is going to be user email, user email. So the same thing, we are just going to come here, it's going to be user password, user password. Alright, so that is that. So we can now make a call. So let's focus on the sign up. So I'm going to do const on sign up. So on sign up, it's going to be async like this. So like this. So you're going to take email and then the password. So let's do try and cache error. So we are going to do const res equals to await fetch. Okay, so we are going to use this base URL /signup. So this is a post request. Then you need a second to pass this method. Method is going to be posts. You're going to have headers like this. Is going to be content / type application / JSON. Then the body is going to be our email and password. JSON.stringify is going to be what? Object of email. This is what we are sending to the database to register, right? So we have sign up. So whatever values that we are imputing inside the input is being stored inside the states, and then that is what we are passing here. We are stringifying it to JSON, right? So because that's a format that whatever we are sending, it has to be in a JSON format to be transported. You know, our requests has to be like that. All right, so that is that. So we need to handle our errors very well. If res.ok is going to be const error data equals to await res.json like this. Then we have, so that is, I'm going to be using toast, but I think we can use it now. Okay, let me use return. Come back to it. Yeah, come back to it. This is toast dot error data dot message invalid email or password. So that's that. So we have const data equals to await res.json like this. We have toasts.sources new accounts created successfully. So I'm just going to comment this, come back to the toast later. And then for our error, console.log error logging in. No, it should not be logging. Error signing up. Error. So let's have it. Toasts dot error and an error occurred while signing up. Please try again. All right, so that is that we have done, and then we are not done yet. So this is So what we are doing here is to fetch the data. Right, so we are fetching the data. Oh, we are not fetching the data. We are making a post request. Right, so and then so here in our form, let's come to our form. I'm going to write on submit. And do sign up. So costs and do sign up is going to be E. Then you are going to have E dot prevent defaults. Prevent defaults. So on sign up, I'm calling it here now. On sign up, you are going to have the email and then the password. See the same email that we have here, and the password is what I'm passing here. All we are just doing here is to make the call here. Then we're going to have navigate. So when you take you to this page, set email empty, set password empty. Alright, so that is that. So I'm just going to quickly do for login so that we can test both of them out. Const on login async like this. So we have body. So it's pretty the same thing. I'm just going to copy everything here, then just going to change some things. So instead of sign up, this is going to be login. So it's still posts, and then this will be body. Okay, so that is that. And then res. So yes, one very important thing is in our data here. So I'm going to have if, because login is going to give us token, data.token. So I'm going to do the console out so that we see when I log in the token. So I'm just going to do login data.token. So this login is coming from where? Login is coming from our auths. Remember that we have our auths, this auth context. So login is coming from there because we are setting it here, and then it's authentication. So instead of this thing, instead of writing it here, directly, right? Because we need to set the login, so we just have it here. Because to have it here means that we have to now set a state for it. So we are going to do our auths. So we are going to do maybe const login equals to use auths like this. So we are good. So we have login that I'm calling here. I'm setting it here. So the token is going to be in our data. The token is setting it here. And then what are we going to do now is to do dot success. It's going to be login successfully. It's going to be login successfully, and then navigate. I'm not sure I've said this. Navigate to what? To dashboard. So let's do const navigate is equals to use navigate, and that's it. So what else do we need to do? Alright, so let's undo const undo login. Const body, so it's an object. This is going to be name equal, so it's going to be email. It's going to be what? User email. Password, it's going to be what? User password. Alright, and then on login, we are going to pass in the body. This is what we are passing in the body, and that is all. So here, just go to our form and just going to do on submit, just post it here. So that is that, guys. And then so we are just going to be doing some testing right now. So we can see here, so there's nothing here, there's no token here. So we go to create an account. Let's create an account. Let's call it test 20 at example.com. Let's do test. Sign up. Alright, so we don't know whether it has gone, but one way we can know is to, I don't have a toast, so I think we need to test. We need to toast, but let's log in. Let's log in. Test 20 at example.com test. So we can see that we are routed towards, so you can see that the token is showing now, right? So it means everything is working perfectly. Everything is working perfectly. We're having our dashboard and all of that. So, but when we log in, we are expected to take, it's supposed to take us to the dashboard page. We're expected to take us to the dashboard page. So why are we not going to the dashboard page? So we're almost done. So we worked on the sign up and then the login. So what we need to do now is to test our implementation. And so this is, we've already signed up. Alright, so let me check the database to see if we have it there. So we can see what we sign up. This is test 20. Alright, test 20 at example. And so if we try to, I want to check the so you see that there's no token here, and if we try to access the dashboard, it's not going to work. Can you see? You can't access the dashboard. You can't access create page because you need to be authenticated, right? So we can do test 20 at example.com, then we do test. So from our implementation, what we have in our implementation is when you sign in, when you log in, then and if there is no error, then you should be routed to the dashboard page. And we know that the dashboard is protected, meaning that we cannot access it. So when you log in, we should have a token, and that token, when we have a token, then what happens when we have a token is that the is authenticated becomes true. When is authenticated becomes true, that means our navbar becomes, all these parts becomes active, becomes true, and then we can have the access, we have access to the dashboard and then create. So what we're going to do is to log in. So we have successfully logged in. So we can see that we have the dashboard, we have the create, and then we have the logout. And then what do we have? We have the token. So it's that simple. So when we log out, what happens again? So you can access create now. Now you can come back and then go back to dashboard, create and all of that. So if I log out, what happened? The token is removed, right? So and if you try to access the dashboard, you cannot access the dashboard except you are authenticated. So that is that. So I'm just going to log in again, and we are going to work on the dashboard area now. So this is a dashboard, so that's going to be our focus now, and let's get to the dashboard. We have pages. So where's our dashboard? Components. Okay, let me go to our app.js. So these are dashboard. Oh, can you see? So this what we have here. The dashboard should be inside the pages. Dashboard should be inside the pages, and then create event should be inside the pages. Yes, edit event should be inside the pages as well. All right, so this should be here. So for the dashboard, let's just get right into it because they are separate pages. So we're going to have container. We're going to have container like this, and then don't forget that for the dashboard, what we are going to have in the dashboard is everything we have here is their events, and these events are not for this specific user, is a new user. So what I want to do is to make sure that what we have here are the events that are created by these specific users. All right, so and the events can now be editable, it is deletable. Okay, so that is how it is. So an event is tied to a specific user. So I want to try and do, let's do test one at example.com. I want to log into this particular user. I hope I still get it. I'm not sure I did. So we have test one example. Okay, I'm not sure I get the password. All right, so that's why it's not going through. So but let me log in into 20, and then all right, so we have dashboard. So the error messages and all of that will be handled shortly. So for the dashboard, we are going to do so we are going to fetch a data, right? And for us to fetch a data, we are fetching that data based on the event created by the users, right? And one way we are going to be able to do that is to be able to get a token. So we know that when a user login, there's a token that is being generated when a user login. So I'm going to come here. So when we take this token, let's copy this token like this, and then we take it to DWT like this. What do we see? We see that user ID 4. That is what we have. This is user ID 4. So if I just want to do something. So we see this user ID 4. Then let's go to events. So we see that event is created by, we can see that user ID 1 created Go conference, JavaScript conference, and then Java meetup is by ID 3. All right, so we don't have any event. So what I'm going to do is to so we've copied, so it's an ID 4. So we want to destructure it out. Like we want a way to be able to get this user ID from this JWT token. And how do we do that? So there's a package that allows us to be able to do that, and the name of the package is JWT decode. Right, so this is a package. Okay, so this package is going to help us to be able to get the token, like we'll be able to decode it. And so that's the package we are going to use. Let's just get into it. So I'm going to do let's create some events. Since you want to get events, set event like this. So use state is going to be, so let's get use state is going to be an empty array. All right, so const user ID, which is going to be set user ID, use state, so it's going to be none. We are going to get const, so I want to be able to get the user email, so I just want to show that when you log in, your email should show on the top. Set user email use states, and then we have none like this. All right, so we are good. So what we are going to do now is to use effects, pass a callback, then we are going to do, so what we want to do now is to do const token. So let's get the token from our local storage dot get item. So it has a name, so we are going to use that name to get it, event token. So when we get the token, we are going to say if token, if we've gotten the token, then we are going to do try and catch error like this. So we are going to do const decoded token equals to JWT decode. Then we are passing in the token. So I need to get this library, so we are going to install this library. Let's come here, ls, let's show double check. Then we've installed the library has been installed. So let's import JWT decode from JWT like this. So, and then from there we can now say set user ID, right, is going to be a decode token dot user ID, because when we decode it, it's going to have the user ID, it's going to have the email. Those are the things that we expect from our JWT. These are the things that we are getting the user ID. I'm just going to get the email. So this is a token that has been, I don't know, don't let me say encrypted, but this is a token. From our token, it contains all this information. So when we decode it, because on the back end we use we use JWT, not Bcrypt. We use JWT. So this is to decode it to be able to extract this data. And then so that is us. We are going to set email. Set user email is going to be decoded dot email, and that is that. So what we are going to do, console.log invalid token invalid token error. Then we have local storage dot remove. In case there's an error, we have event token. Then we now navigate away to login. So what I'm going to do is, let's do const navigate equals to use navigate like this. So this should be navigate. Alright, so that is that, and then we are going to have our array dependencies like this. Alright, so we are still going to have const use effects use effects. So we are going to have if user ID, then we are going to have const fetch data, fetch events. So equals to, so if you have the user ID now, why is this thing doing this? This is going to be synchronous. Actually, I was like, there's something I'm doing wrong, because that is not supposed to be giving me that. So we have const res equals to await. Just wondering what I did wrong. Just is going to be base URL / events this created by. So we're going to filter then query params, and then do x, this is what user ID like this. We're going to have const data equals to awaits res JSON like this. Alright. Awaits. So I'm going to set the event to be what? Data.data, and that is it. I'm going to have console.log error fetching the error fetching events. Alright, so we are going to call, you have to call this function. So let's do fetch like this, and then we are going to have user ID as well. So that is that, and then so let's come here and map through what we have. H1, so we are going to do event created by user email like this. So we check our dashboard here. It's not our dashboard. Let's check here. So we are seeing event created by test this. Alright, so I just wanted to, so if it's a name, then everything you wanted to display can be, and if it's going to be on the navbar, so I just choose to have a simple design like this. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is to do event dot okay, dot length. So if I don't put that question tag, in case if there's nothing, to not cause error, and then we are going to have this, and then we are going to have the same thing that we did earlier. What's happening again? This is H1. We have event.length. Okay. Let's have class name is going to be dashboard underscore events. So we are mapping to this, the looping events like this. Let's return like this. We have div dot dashboard card. Key event.id. So we are going to use formats. So let's format this guy. So it's going to be event.datetime. Alright, so event.datetime. H3 is going to be event.name. Event.description, and then we are going to have a P. We're going to have location is going to be location. We are going to have location, which is going to be event.location. Event.location. We're going to have a div dot event btn like this. We are going to have two buttons. So this is going to be edit event, and the other one is going to be delete events. So that is what we are going to have for this. Let me just put on click. It's going to be this. Let's navigate. Slash events slash event.id. Alright, so the undo deletes, I will be handling that later. So that is that. So we are not seeing anything because we are supposed to be seeing something. So we should have, so if there's nothing, then this guy should show. Okay, you can see. So it shows. So when we create an event, it automatically shows. So we are going to do that quickly, shortly. So no user events. Yet. So no event created by the user yet. Alright, so let's get to the create event part of the project. Alright, so we'll still come back to delete. So this is important. So let's have a class. Class is going to be container. All we need to do is to do each one is what? Create event, and then we are going to have a form. Inside the form, we're going to have a class which is going to be create event. We're going to have a div. We're going to have a label. Honestly, I'll just okay, let's just do label. It's going to be name, and then this is going to be input, which is going to be tests, and that is it. And then let's duplicate. Okay, so we are going to have for div description is going to be a test area. So for the test area, we're going to make the row to be 10, and that's it. And then the next one is going to be div label location inputs tests, and then we are going to have inputs, which is going to be submit. It is going to be what? Create event. So let's see what we have. So you can see for the create event, so we have a dashboard, we have create event, right? So we are just going to focus on the functionality now, and then we get it working, so that by the time we create an event, then it takes us to the dashboard, and then we want to see the event that we are going to be creating. Right, so that is that. So I'm just going to come here, I'm just going to do const. So we need a state, set name equals to use state like this, const description, set description, empty string, costs location, set location. And so this is what we have. Cost navigation, navigate equals to use navigate. Alright, so that is what we have. And then so I'm just going to take, let's do the, let's say value is going to be name, and then we're going to do on change is going to take e, and we're going to say set name e dot target dot value. We're going to take this, we are taking this and then place it in it. We are going to place it here, value. The value in this case is going to be description, This is going to be what? Set description. Alright, so this one as well is going to be location. This is going to be set location. Alright, so we are done. So we need to now consume the endpoint now. So what we need to do is to do const create event async like this, and then the async is going to take, because it's a post request, it's taking this, and then we are going to do const token equals to local storage dot get items. It's going to be token, it's going to be event token. Try cache. Suppose cache here, we put error like this. So for the try, we are going to have const res equals to await fetch. We have a base URL events, and then we have this. So you're going to have headers. Okay, before headers, okay, let's have methods. Method is going to be post request. Header is going to be, we're going to have content type is going to be application slash JSON like this. Then authorization is going to be bearer like this. Okay, token. Right, so followed by body, which is going to be JSON dot stringify. This is going to be what? The new event that will be passed in. Right, so we are good. We can now do if res.ok. We can do const error data equals to await res.json like this. Then we are going to write, I'm going to install this toast now, dot error data message. Oh, okay. Failed to create events, and then we return. Right, so let's have those dots. The success is going to be events created successfully, and then for the error we are just going to have toast dots error is going to be an error occurred while creating the event, and that's it. error like this. Alright, so we are good. Before we start testing, so we need to now undo our submit. So const undo submit is going to be taking e like this, and it's going to be e dot prevent defaults like this. If this name description, so we have location like this, so let's return. So you're going to have const new events like this. So you're going to have name, which is going to be what? Name, right? The name that is coming from, then we have going to be description. Description is going to be what? Description. Then what are we going to have? Location is going to be what? Location. Followed by date time, which is going to be what? New date dot to string like this. Alright, so we are good. So we just have to create events. So I'm calling what I did here, create event, is going to be have a new event, and then we are going to set name. Let's set it to empty string, set description empty string, set location empty string. Alright, so that is that. So we're now going to do on submit. It's going to be undo submit. Alright, so let's install our toasts. So something I'm missing here. Oh, okay. So after this, we should navigate. You should navigate to the what? Dashboard. You should navigate to the dashboard. Alright, so let's install React Toasts. React Toasts. Toastify. So this is what we are going to install. react-toastify. And let's bring it back here. So copy. So react-toastify, we have installed it, and then let's do a basic setup for it. For Toastify, let's go to the, so I'm just going to take it from here. Toastify, let's go to the web, source, pages, root layout. I'm just going to take it from here. Just take this to here. Here's our root layout. Let's put it here. Put it here, and then we're going to have our toast container like this. Alright, so I think we are Alright, so I think we are good. So let's do some testing. So we should be able to create a toast. We should be able to create an event. So let's do Rust conference. Just copy this, paste here. Lagos, Nigeria. So you can see that it has been created, right? We now have, so if you come here, what do we see? We see Rust, this thing, right? And we can see the individual, right? So that is that. So what we are going to do now is something I want to do. Our toast is not firing up. The toast should come up. Did we not? Oh, I need to import it. I need to import it. So import toast. Yeah, so let's try and create another one. So let's do, what are the, we have JavaScript, we have, okay. Tech Founders Conference. Right, so we are going to copy this and then do sound from. Let's see, hope I got this spelling, yes. Create an event, so you can see that event created successfully, right? So that is that. And if there's a problem with the event, let's say we have something like this. So I expect that there will be a problem, an error occurred, right? So we can see that an error occurred while creating this. So that is, I needed that. Alright, so that is, so we have two events that are created already. Alright, so, and when we log out and we try to access this page, we cannot access it, so we have to log in again. test20 at example.com. So we have tests like this, and then we log in again. Alright, so we can edit. It takes us to the edit, and that is what we are going to work on, and then we should be able to delete as well. So let's quickly work on the edit page. So for the edit page, let's get to the edit page. We should be able to edit. So this is going to be a container, class of container. Here, container, then each one is going to be edit event. It's going to be edit events, and then it's going to be let's get some code from single page. So I'm going to take this, let's go to the edits, and then we're going to paste it here, and then create events. So let's go to create events, since we are editing events. So just take everything we have here. In fact, these are things that should have extracted out into components. Edits, it's better to just, so we are going to have to do const navigate equals to use navigate like this. Then we have got to do with the different classes like this as well. So enough is enough. I've copied enough. So let's get the states. Alright, so now it's not just I want to edit. Oh, and the submit is not. Okay, so let's do const and do submit. Yeah, maybe having that error again. So you can go back, then we can edit. So I just don't want to edit. I want everything here to be pre-populated. Like I want the content here so that it should also show when I want to edit. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like I want to see everything showing it. So that means that we need to now make a call to be able to fetch that. And that's what we are going to do right now. So we are going to do const id, which is use param like this. Should get use param. Many times are we getting use param? Oh, equals to. Once there's a mistake, then you can always know. So I'm going to do const fetch events equals to async. We need id to fetch individual events to we want to edit. Cache, and then we have this as well. So we are going to do const response. Okay, in fact it's just like here what we've done here exactly. Okay, just everything we have done here is like what we need to do. Alright, so that is just basically it. Just few modifications that I need to do. So here, because we are getting the individual events. Okay, so when we click, it takes us. So this is use effect. A lot of things are not defined. Oh no, use effects. Okay, this is use effects, and then base URL. Alright, I think we are good now. So we already having 5. Right, so when you click here, it's going to give us 5. So and then that 5, the ID should now be used to populate this. So what I'm going to do now is here is now going to be set name. So you see when we fire here, you can see it should now be data.name. So this is how it's going to be. So you can see that if you fire again, you see Rust conference. That makes sense. So we know what we want to, and then take this away. So we have set description data.description, set location data.location, and that is it. So we refresh again, we can see that. So come back again, so you have it. So if you want to edit anything, you're seeing the content of what you want to edit. Then let's finish this up, and then there's going to be an ID here as well. So that is that, and then what we are going to do next is to call this. So for edit, I'm just going to use some of the functionalities is similar to creating events. like this. So let's do something. Let's just pick this, then I'm going to just edit it. So edit is just going to come here, and what I'm doing here is to now say update. We are updating. We have to update it. Sorry, I kept saying edit. We have to update. Alright, so we are going to have updates event. So this is going to be updates event. So we need a token, which is correct. So this is going to be a put. Right, so exactly the same thing. Fail to update, and then so it's the same thing. Updated successfully. While updating the, so it's pretty the same thing, and then I think we are good. So what we should now create the handler now is going to be const. I think we have done that already. I think so. We have handler submits. So let's get it. Oh, it should be down here. So we are going to have to do that here, and then we are going to do e.prevent defaults like this. So yeah, I have to do name, description, then we are going to have location as well, then return. So in case if it's empty, just validation check there. Const new, just say new, or let's say let me use new events equals to this updated events. Is going to be name, right? So because we are going to store them here, whatever we input is here, followed by description. Description is going to be description. Then we have location as location. Then we are going to have date time equals to now dates. Date time is going to be now dates dots. Oh, I said now, that be new dates. So I think we are good. So okay. So let's await. Oh, this is not a sync. A sync like this. So we are going to await updated event with what? Okay, let me see. Okay, this is update event with what? Updated event. This should be here, and then we now navigate to the dashboard, which is going to be slash dashboard. Right, so we are done, and then let's see if we can update something. So let's try again. Let's say rough. Instead of saying rust, let's say full stack meetup is going to be South Africa. Alright, so this is not working. So let's open our console and then let's try. So toast is not defined. Okay, so let's import toasts. Alright, so let's go. Error occur while updating. So what error? It's like, okay, we are not allowed. Why are we not allowed? Method not allowed. Method not allowed. Method not allowed. Okay, so I think this is put. Let me check here. Yes, it's correct. Why is it saying method not allowed? We are using put. Okay, so let me restart. I restart again. So let's edit again. Let me add meetup. An error occur while updating. Method not allowed. Status code. There's a problem. Alright, in fact, it's not even supposed to route us to the dashboard. Method not allowed. So we are going to go through this. Description, method not allowed. Okay, so let's check this out. Update method, local storage, base ID. Oh, there's no ID. That's bad. There's no ID here, so there should be an ID. There should be an ID. So there should be an ID. So let's come here. Then undo some of these things. Meetups. So you can see, so it's working properly now. So let's edit. Let's full stack web dev meetup USA. So you can see that the edit is working perfectly now. And so what we need to now work on now is to be able to delete. Right, so when you click delete, then it should be deleted. So let's quickly work on that. And then when we are done, then we can now quickly work on, you should be able to register for an event. Right, these things are not working. So those will be the two things that we have left. So let's go back to dashboard and let's quickly fix that. Going to work on that really quick. So right to our dashboard. Let's import. Before I forget. Okay. So dashboard, what we have, we want to delete. So the deleting tool is pretty the same thing. Is almost the same thing when we want to delete. Right. So I'm just going to come here. Let's do. Okay. So same way we have created. It's just the same thing. So I'm just going to copy it and then let's get to the dashboard. It would have been better to extract this. So we are going to have delete event like this. So we have our token, then we need the ID. We need the ID. Of course, do we have an ID on this page? Wow. the ID will come from. Where okay, I know where the ID will come from, so it's going to come from delete ID. So it's going to be ID like this, and then we are deleting, so we don't need body, we need a token, and then this is going to be delete. So this is to delete, and then could not delete the event, and then alright. So one major thing that should be here is to filter set event. Set events. Is it events or events? Yeah, it should be events. Oh, this should be events. Going to be previous event, dot filter. That's another method of an array. Events. That was event.id equals to id. Alright, so that is that. So let's get to our undo deletes. Const undo deletes is going to be events id. Const confirm window dot confirm. So it's just to confirm. Are you sure you should want to delete this event? Are you sure you want to delete this event? And then if so, inverse return. So let's call the delete events, and then let's pass in the event ID. Alright, so let's come to our undo delete here. Going to be on click. It's going to be like this. Undo delete. So it's going to be event.id. So that is pretty that. So let's come. What is happening? Okay, let's start again. Let me log out. These are the events we have. In fact, these events are in our database. If I come back to event like this, you can see everything is stored here. So let's sign in again. Test20 example.com tests. Okay, so I know why we're having issues. Is this event that I changed? So let's check. Where was it used before? So it's here. Yeah, so this is going to be events. Alright, so that is that. So delete events. Are you sure you want to delete events? And that is deleted. Okay, so fast. And then you see that it has been deleted. So event has been deleted. So I mean, we've been able to, you can edit, we can delete, and then we can create. Then what we need to do now is we should be able to register for an event, right? We should be able to cancel an event. So I'm just going to work on that really quick. Cancel an event. So cancel an event and all the like. So we are going to go to single page, single events. This is where we are going to do those stuffs. Single events. So for register events, it's still like the same thing. Like, so let's just go const so it's going to be const token, then getting it from local storage dots get items event token. Then if let's say it's not, if there's no event otherwise, so definitely you'll not be able to sign in toast.error. You are not you must be logged in to register for an event, and then it's going to navigate you. Oh my goodness. Navigates to sign up and then return. So that's that. So the rest are pretty the same thing. From here to here. So register for an event, single events. So try and cache. The event is going to be ID slash register. Alright, so it's going to be a post request. You need a token, you don't need the body. Right, so if response is not okay, fail to register. For the event, and then so what we have is successfully registered. Successfully registered for the event. Alright, so an error occurred while registering for the events. So that's pretty it. Then in fact just the same thing for cancel events. Alright, so the only thing is going to be the delete. So to cancel an event, cancel an event is going to take ID as well. The same route. The only thing is this is going to be delete. Delete. And then just cancel. So that is that. So you're going to do on click register for an event. You're going to have an ID. Don't forget that we have the ID here. Alright, so on click cancel an event and we have an ID. Alright, so let's go. Mentors, let's say this. Here you can register for an event, successfully register for an event. You know, that is nice. And then we can also cancel, successfully cancel for the event. So that is that, guys. I mean, it's a pretty basic app, and you can log out. Once you log out and you try to register for an event, you must be logging, and then the same thing, you must be logging to cast. So that is that. So everything shows here, but you have to sign up. Like, the routes are protected. You can't get in, you cannot get in. So if you don't have an account, you have to sign up, and then if you have an account, you can log in. So you see tests 20 at example.com, tests like this, and then you log in. So in fact, you're supposed to get a message by the time you're logging in. Where's our dashboard? Do we have our toast there? Oh, sign up. Yeah. So let's say imports toasts. Yeah, toasts, everything that's so toasts. Yeah. So let's log out again. There's 20 at example.com, test like this, and then we log in. So successfully logged out. So I mean, why are we having two accounts? There's a mixed up somewhere. Shouldn't be having this. It's not supposed to be here now. Okay? It's not supposed to be here. So test 20 at example.com, tests. I think my password is wrong. So tests. So that is that, guys, and I believe that there are still, I mean, we've come to the end of this project. I mean, there are few things that we can also improve on. I mean, there are places that we repeated ourselves. There are functionalities that we can, you know, create a custom hook, and then, instead of having to repeat ourselves, and then maybe in the future, I'll probably love to use React, what is it called? Stack query. So I plan on using these. All right, so I plan on using this, converting, changing the native fetch or the native way of fetching to using stack query. So I want you guys to take it further and see the things you can improve, play around with the code, and as much as possible try to understand what is happening. All right, and the code is fully on GitHub, so you can check it out. Is here, and you can always, so to get started means you have to make sure that you change directory inside this place, right? So you release a code, make sure that you change directory, right? So when you get started, do ls to be sure that you know your directory. And if you are, this is the, so when you are starting, right, so this you can see you have to seed in into web, so make sure you change directory, seed in into web, and then you can now do npm 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 run dev, right? So that is how it works. So guys, if you have not liked, if you have not subscribed, please consider doing that so that you get notifications for subsequent videos I'll be uploading on the channel. And please, please, I would love you guys to comment. Let me get a feedback from you to know the things to improve on and areas to work on. Thank you guys, and thank you so much. Bye.